focusing on workshops and how to really set them up to be successful in a virtual world as well as online or as in person. And like workshops, I've always been a really big fan of because they're really leverageable. You're able to do one kind of selling one to many. You're able to build your preeminence, that authority, credibility, and expertise. You're starting to build a bit more of value for your current clients and prospects, as well as you're able to start building more of a community between the clients that you have. It's really good for list building because people tend to like events, and especially if you can make them enjoyable and a good experience, people will want to bring other people and tell each other about them. Locally, it's something that you can promote, I find, in local Facebook groups. So if you've got area specific Facebook groups, often what you'll see is people just go in there and promote their painting service or their car washing or whatever it is, dog walking service, and people are just used to seeing ads. But if you go in there and you take a different approach to say, hey, we've got a free workshop on overcoming low back pain Wednesday night, 7 p.m., send me a message if you want to register. You can get a lot of people organically that way in the community that normally you wouldn't have gotten. And also they're good if you're utilizing newspapers or direct mailers to get as a bit of an offer and incentivization to come in, especially if you structure it well and give a good offer and a giveaway or something along those lines. So whether you're doing them online or offline, it's really the same concept. The delivery is just slightly different. So you're able to deliver something on Zoom or Doxy or whatever service you want to use. So it's less intimate than obviously seeing someone in person and being able to shake their hand and so on. But it's still ultimately the same thing that you're delivering. So originally I'm just thinking, well, is there an easy way to be able to just take what works traditionally in person and put it online since everyone's at home? Change the wording, change the offer, and say, hey, you can now join us from the comfort of your own home, and we'll give you some exercises and stretches and stuff to help guide you through a specific process. So that's originally like my thought process of what can I do instead of sitting around doing nothing, and then give it a try, see what happens. And I've seen some really good results from this, where people are selling plans of care off of the actual webinar, workshop, whatever you want to call it, online. And getting a ton of new prospects in. Fully disclosure, it's like some of the people who are doing well have a bit better community already built and a bit warmer of a list. So those people are probably more warmed up to be able to engage the purchase. But there are some prospects who were colder coming in there and still converting. The other thing is from the prospects itself, I don't know if you're getting more people opting in because they want to, or they're interested in doing stuff at home and they really will never have any intention of actually coming to your business, which means maybe a virtual service is something that is offered going forward just because it's easier for them or whatever that might be. So time will kind of tell on what happens with these leads in terms of conversions, if they either come in or if we give them an offer to do something online, all that kind of stuff, sort of figuring it out as we go. And I think anyone who tells you that they know specifically what's going to happen is probably just making it up. So yeah, any questions on that so far?
Nope.
All right. So big challenges that I see with workshops, and we've spoken a lot about this in the past, is there's a couple main ones. The first one is there's no specific target, outcome, or person that you're trying to attract. So people will put together a very vague workshop like runner's workshop or fat loss workshop or golf workshop, but there's nothing attached as an outcome or a person that's specifically targeting. And what happens is it's very vague and it doesn't build enough really want for people to come, unless maybe they know you specifically. But even in that case, you would probably get better attendance and people showing up if you end up having a more structured outcome-based workshop. So being able to change that is we want to be able to take something and say, overcoming low back pain for golfers workshop, or overcome neck pain and stiffness while in quarantine workshop. So that's really speaking to a pain point that someone's experiencing and the outcomes that we're going to be going through during this workshop. So you're going to end up engaging people a lot more. The second thing is there is no real flow, or it's not relatable to the prospect or the clients who are there. So the big mistake here is people just put together a bunch of information and just like a fire hose onto the people sitting in the audience. They don't engage with them. They don't ask questions. They don't make things relatable so that they understand. And often as therapists, trainers, and so on, we have different lingo that we use in our world that clients don't actually really understand. So we really got to be able to make sure that we distill our presentation down to make sure it has a good flow, talks about some of the problems, talks about the solutions, gives them some information, and then transitions into some sort of next step for them to take, which is the next thing. Most people are missing a call to action. And there's so many times that I've been to actual workshops, either with my clients or I'll go to other health practices and so on to see what they're doing and when I'm working with them. And at the end of the workshop, it's like, all right, thank you for coming. We'll talk to you guys soon. And the reality is that doesn't bridge the gap at all. And it just ends up leaving people like, well, what's kind of the next step? And often this happens because people are nervous about selling, and they're kind of scared to say, hey, the next step is to book an appointment with me, or hey, here's a specific offer that I have for you that's discounted or whatever it might be. And the reality is that people need to be told what to do next. As you know from the time we spent together, people need to be directed what the next step is. And without that, it's kind of like leading up to, hey, all of this good stuff is awesome. I really want to do this. And they're thinking in their head, well, how do I do it? So you got to give them that option, include a call to action of what to do next. That might be booking an appointment with you, the consultation, discovery visit. It might be signing up for a specific program that's shorter or whatever, but you need to have something. The next one is there's no follow-up with their process. So either someone signs up and there's no follow-up process to the event, or there's no follow-up process after the event. And about 2 weeks ago, I was talking with a chiropractor, and I talked to him about his leads, and he would do workshops and he would get Facebook leads, or someone would call in, and I would say, okay, well, what happens after? He's like, oh, well, if they don't book in, then we throw them out. And I thought he was actually joking. Like, I literally thought he was joking, but he was completely serious. Well, they didn't book, so I threw him out. So literally, he's doing no follow-up. And the reality is there's what's going to happen in a workshop is there's going to be some people who come. There's going to be some people who don't come. There's going to be some people who come and buy, and some people who come and don't buy, and so on. So we want to be able to extend and create campaigns so that way when all the people who did sign up, we're able to connect with them on a later date to give them an offer. Maybe that's the replay, maybe that's giving them a call, whatever it might be. But we want to follow up with those people because they were potentially interested at one point. So from that list building benefit that we have, we really want to make sure that we're following up with these people. So follow up before the event to make sure that they come, especially if it's 2 weeks and you have no follow up to then. I've seen that. And then afterwards, it's like, event's over. See you all later. You didn't show up or you didn't buy. Okay, whatever. So we want to be able to design those systems. And lastly, the big mistake is, and this is often overlooked, is consistency. And anything that we do marketing wise needs to be consistent. And lack of consistency is one of the biggest reasons why people fail in their marketing campaigns and sales and everything else in life, even riding a bike or a new skill. Is I hear all the time, I did a workshop and I had 2 people come and it didn't work. I did a Facebook ad, it didn't work. I did a Facebook ad for 2 days and it didn't work, I should say. Or I wrote something in the newspaper, it didn't work. The reality is that whatever you do needs to be consistent. And marketing is a test, more specifically. So whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you're consistent with it. Workshops need to be consistent. I generally say, unless you have a big list of active, engaged prospects and clients, patients, or you have a really tight-knit community, it's probably, including like joint venture partnerships that can help amplify that. And we'll talk a little bit about it. Unless you have that, it's going to be really challenging to be able to promote your workshops right away. So the first couple of times you might not really get many people, and you might have to do a little bit more work to get people to come to them. But if you schedule one every single month and people know, okay, the middle of the 15th of every month or the middle of every month at 7 p.m., we're going to be doing a workshop. and then you kind of cycle the topics depending on what people want to know. That's how you end up building these workshops. So when I first started doing them, I didn't really have a lot of audience. But what I did was I leveraged my partnerships with other trainers and therapists and other business owners that I had in my network to get them to promote it to their clients and customers. And from that, I started getting more people to a point where I would have somewhere between 15 to kind of 25 people, depending on which type of workshop I was doing and the time of year and so on. You know, winter, you might not get as many people and so on. And also you want to make sure that, you know, I'm not doing a running workshop in the middle of December when it's like -50 out. Like no one's going to be coming to that, probably not, unless you're a triathlete superstar and that's your niche. So consistency, you got to be consistent. If you're going to do workshops, you're also going to need to get better at doing them and refine the process. But when you get it, you can consistently get probably around 20, 25 prospects in per month who actually show up to your workshops after a couple months of doing them. And realistically, you could be generating a lot of income from doing it. So make sense? Any questions on that?
No, that's really awesome. I'm starting to notice, even just with my regular posts now on Instagram, just basic level consistency stuff, I'm getting a lot more leads in. So I can definitely, yeah.
It's like the snowball effect. You start it going and it gets bigger and bigger over time. So, all right. So now we'll transition a little bit into like what I refer to as like the perfect workshop and some of the components. And then I'll share with you some of the components that I have, like the assets that we use for ads and what the funnels look like, the most recent ones of doing it online. And the reality is it's exactly the same thing. It's just communicated differently from your own home or in clinic, in gym, whatever. So it's literally just the shift of the words, and instead of live workshop, it's virtual. So, you know, it's basically the same concept. So the perfect workshop, I like to be able to give yourself enough time to be able to promote it. So somewhere between, if you have a highly engaged audience, you might be able to do something within 7 to 10 days. If you don't really have as much of an engaged audience, you might need kind of 10 to 15 days. You kind of figure out what makes the most sense for you. If you don't have as much engagement in the first couple ones, you're going to need to really promote them harder, like once per day. You know, you need to be giving more information out on that. So I like to use a combination of both paid ads, leveraging joint venture partnerships, and your current clients. So you don't need to spend money to run these. The easiest way to do it is get your clients to come to start so you can build some confidence and get some people in, promote it to your clients, and ask them to bring a friend or colleague. Then if you have partnerships with other business owners or people that you've got in your community, you can ask them to help promote it to their people. Ideally, they could end up emailing it to their list of clients if they have it. And that way they're able to kind of almost give you like a bit of a referral or kickstart to be able to get that in. And then you can utilize ads, paid ads for Facebook. They're pretty cheap for the most part to get people to opt in. I'm finding it's even cheaper and easier to get people to opt in for virtual, probably because they don't need to go anywhere. Whether those people are as good at converting, I don't know, but we'll find out over the next couple of weeks. So that's what I like to do to get people in. We need to be able to promote it. So promote it to your list, use joint ventures and paid ads, or any combination of those in between. Obviously, if you have more, it's going to be more beneficial, or you're going to have more reach. If you're just starting out, you might not want to do a ton of paid ads and stuff because one, it costs money, and two, you might not be as comfortable if you've never done one before. So you might want a couple rough ones under your belt to just friends and family and VIP clients than new people. So next, we want to be able to have an interactive experience. So we ought to be able to engage the audience in asking questions. And a lot of the time I like to do an introduction to a topic and ask a question or propose a question. So at the beginning of like this, workshop, I can say like, who's ran workshops? What have your results been like? What are some positive things? What are some negative things? What did you like? What did you not like? You can ask questions like that to engage the audience, to get them to start feeling a little more comfortable with one and another and yourselves. I also like to do an introduction where people get to, introduce themselves. Hey, introduce yourself to the partner next to you or whatnot, because that's really important to set the context, and they're not sitting next to a stranger feeling really self-conscious or whatnot. Asking a question right at the start, like, this is a back pain seminar for golfers. Just want to know what your biggest problem is and what you want to take away. And this will also tell you, like, with what you've got prepared, do I need to focus on something more specific than others? Maybe someone wants their back pain's bad and they're slicing the ball or something like that, and you're going to talk a little bit more about that instead of whatever else you're going to talk about, getting in and out of the golf cart, or maybe that was the number one problem. So we kind of talked a little bit about it as well. We just really want, and kind of tie in, is we want to make the title of the workshop outcome specific for a specific person. So overcoming back pain for golfing, that's specific. Improving your overhead serve for tennis, like, that's specific. If we're just doing something very general, we're not going to get as much engagement. I like to add a shock and awe kit or package, which is basically like a gift for someone coming. And in this, I like to have the traditional shock and awe stuff from like Dan Kennedy, where you've got a sales letter kind of outlining your services, the typical problems that someone's having, for example, with golf and low back pain, and why they haven't had or why they've been having challenges. Even if it's for your clients, I'd still give them that letter, because you're selling them continuously on your service and the benefits. They might have not been in quite as frequently or whatever, and that. I like to give them kind of a exclusive, branded and put together, usually just make them on Canva. You can hire someone, a Fiverr or whatever, to put together like your slides in like a more interactive, where it's got nice pictures and it's more instructive than just a PowerPoint slides that's set up. As well as like a report, you can add what we utilize as gold gift cards, where it's like, hey, here's your free discovery visit, your free treatment or training session, or whatever it is. So you can package and I do like to add like testimonials or success stories in there, bundle it all up together, and I just leave it on the chair. So when they come in, they immediately get a shock and awe right away with a package, and it's a little bit more making them feel at home, and they know that they're probably going to be in the right place instead of just some random place where someone's coming to talk to them about back pain and make them feel bad. Online, essentially what you can do, it's not as good, is just bundle it together into like a download file. I just made a page on Clickfunnels where it's like a resource page. They go to the resource page. That way I've got their contact information and so on anyways, because they've opted in for the email. They go to the resource page and you can add your pixel and all that stuff onto it. All right, how are we doing so far? I know we're going through a lot, so.
No, it's good, man. Yeah.
So the last couple things that we want to have is we want to have an IRO, irresistible offer of some capacity. So typically I like to give someone something of value where they would get, for example, therapy. I would give them like three appointments for X number of dollars. So that way it's less about one appointment. It's more about an outcome or something along those lines, like a Kickstarter. So for neck pain, there's like a neck pain Kickstarter 3-session package where they can get a bunch of treatments together. Those types of things generally work well to get someone to like take action right away. If you're saying come in to do a free consult, it's not very sexy of an offer, and you're probably not going to get as many people taking you up on it. You can try it, but like I said, you're probably not going to get as much. So I would put together some sort of bundle. If you're going to do a one-off session, whatever, the main thing is that you want them to take action. You generally will not have tire kickers in this type of setup because they've committed their time to coming in with you. And during your workshop, you probably have communicated a plan of care or prescription of exercise or something of some capacity about why your method is different. And we've got the template in the script in like in the workshop module where you can actually go through and look at what the script is from like how do you set up the workshop and whatnot. We won't go too much to that today because that's like a whole nother section, but like, how do you really set up the workshop? And then lastly, you got to have follow-ups, and follow-ups to the event, follow-ups after the event. because that is where you're going to be able to capitalize. You might have 60 people sign up, 20 people show. Well, what happened to those 40? Chances are they're probably still interested in some capacity. So we need to design some follow-ups in order to get these people in. I like to use CRM and actually build it out so most of it's automated, as well as utilizing a front desk person. Or if you don't have a front desk person, you could use software like SlideDial or Sales Message, where you pre-record messages and send it to them. Or you could just be old school and get on the phone and say, hey, Colin, you missed our workshop. I want to make sure you had all the right information on overcoming back pain so you could get back to golf. Please let me know when's a good time to talk. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so lastly, I would always just say, I just said lastly, but one bonus tip is make sure you record and take pictures for content, as well as your own ability to gauge on how you're doing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions on that so far?
No, that's pretty straightforward. Flows pretty well.
Okay. Well, now we will get into the logistics of it. So this is basically going to take a look at how we're actually going to use ads, for example, and the templates and so on that I have. So let's share my screen. Can you see my screen here? You got it? Good. All right, man. So essentially what I look at doing is I've got some sort of method here of communication. So this might be a Facebook ad. This could be an email. This could be a joint venture partnership. It could be word of mouth. We can utilize different sources to be able to get the message out. I've got one thing here that is a Facebook ad that we utilize, which seems to convert pretty well to getting people to opt in. So essentially we send them to this, or this is a paid ad on Facebook. And when they click, they end up going to a landing page. For an email, we basically would take the same sort of concept, put it into an email, and send it to current clients, past prospects, and so on. So, and then you've got the same thing with joint ventures, word of mouth. You basically copy the same sort of thing. So what we want to be able to do is we want to take people from that ad or that communication, email, whatever it is, and send them to a registration page. And the reason why we want that registration is because we need to collect their information, obviously, and we want to be able to know who is coming and nurture them so that they have the opportunity to come. In the email sequences, I actually like to put together all the things they're going to get. I use past footage, as well as I ask them for referrals to bring someone else in. And more than likely, you will probably get people sharing a link and adding referrals to it. So when I look at the pages, there's a couple that I use. So there's one that we've got for back pain that you've seen this one before, I think, where you've got a injury-proof your low back pain. This one is a little bit less intimate because I've got a picture here and so on, but it does have some copy that just sort of directs them in, to basically getting them to register no matter what. This is the most recent one that we used, where we have a video that's uploaded. This is a template, so I'll send you the template. You can either use a video or you can add a photo, whatever you want. I just find videos sometimes are working better, so you can communicate with people, and they seem to be a little bit more engaging. Also helps build your preeminence because people see you a lot. So basically, immediately calling out the audience, telling them when it is, they can click to register, and then if they keep scrolling down, it will tell you, okay, well, what are they going to learn? The number one biggest mistake that people suffering from neck pain has. What are the causes of neck pain? What successful treatment is, and so on. And then register. So after every sort of section, we've got a call to action. So who is this for? It's typical kind of things, and then generally using a social proof or something along those lines. And then lastly, having the registration page. So this is typically the type of opt-ins. What I did find, are you with me so far? So what I did find is using, this is a thank you page, using a thank you video and driving them to a call is, I'll show you this one. It's the template, so it doesn't have the embedded thing in it. But so we drive them to the thank you page. Hey, thank you for registering. They're going to get the email follow-ups. What I actually offer them, and I found has worked, is, hey, want help with neck pain right now? Schedule your no-cost discovery call with one of our expert therapists, and embed the calendar. So someone can literally click right away. And then if they want to get help, you've given them the option too. And what I found is that people will actually take you up on the call and call in right away. And they'll either call in and have questions to ask. They might not be booking an appointment right away, but they have questions that they want to get a bit of help with. And both ourselves and some of the clients who are open now in the virtual world are still being able to offer and get clients to book calls in and booking plans of care. So I added this next section in. I think it's a really smart idea, just because there are people who probably don't want to wait 10 days and they might take you up on that offer. So I'll share this template with you. You'll have to just fill it in with your copy and videos and stuff like that. The video templates are in the workshop modules, like just the template for what to say. You just kind of have to fill it in with your own thing. All right, so that makes sense?
Yeah.
So they do the opt-ins. Then the next things that happen is they get an email sequence. So let's draw a little line in between there. They get the email sequence. I like to use sales message and have like someone like even pre-record calls or call from the front desk as well to confirm, because just like where we saw here, we're able to get a call, get them to book in. If you call them and say, hey, it's Colin here for BPM, and I'm just, I saw that you registered for our neck pain workshop, and I just wanted to give you a quick call to tell you that you're registered in. And if you have any questions about neck pain right now, we'd be more than love to be able to chat with you. I like to take a 3-pronged approach and do call, text, and email. I'm a little more politely persistent than most people, but the reality at the end of the day is someone might not check their email, but they will respond to text message. So I'm not going to fight with people on what services they want to use, but I'm just giving you kind of an overall draft. So I kind of like to do email, call, text for the thank you page, essentially. So this is and basically a thank you page and email is really the same setup. From that, I like to have a nurturing sequence of emails that highlights some of the things about what they're going to get. Because often people will forget or think, well, I'd rather sit at home and watch Tiger King or something along those lines. So what I like to be able to take is something along the lines of a day after talking about a case study or something that someone has went through, or the past workshop or something along those lines that's relatable to them. Again, I'm going to have a call to action on there is, hey, if you want help right now, give us a call. So I always like to have that CTA in the bottom of give us a call if you need help right now. A lot of people will take you up on it. The whole purpose of these emails here is just to be able to keep them engaged. And if it's a couple of weeks out, you're definitely going to need to add a couple more. As I go through here, I like to add, last workshop highlights. If you have testimonials where people say, hey, the workshop was so amazing, I would definitely recommend it. You can use something in there. Again, people generally will like to hear from other people who've already done it. And if you show some videos that, hey, there's a bunch of people there and so on, great. Oops, so make sense so far?
Yeah, this is actually the same kind of setup that we used in the past too. Just like, I think you taught us this actually at one point, just the nurturing emails and the case study and whatnot. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Essentially. Pretty much the same kind of thing. So when I get into these ones here, now I'm starting to do the reminder emails. Depending on how long you have, you might have to space this out more or less days, but typically I generally have 3 reminders. So I would have a reminder that's going to be, especially for online, I think people don't have to get dressed and go to your place, but I keep the same sort of process. So as live, where I'm going to give them a 24-hour or 48-hour reminder, a 24-hour reminder, and then the day of reminder. That way they've gotten a bunch of different ones. And again, I like to utilize a call, text, and email-based strategy to be able to connect the dots in between that for them. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we got Avery here. Okay. So then the next thing that we've got is, hey Avery, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Finally made it in.
Yeah, no problem. I'll send you the replay after, so you got it.
Yeah, sweet.
All right, so then we've got the actual event that we're going to be having here. And that could be live or online or whatever. I find that, you know, you're able to use Zoom or DocsMe or whatever service you want to use. You can use that online. It's the same concept. You're delivering the event the same way. And we've went through the template before of, I believe, of the structure and whatnot. It's also in like the modules for workshops so that you're able to just access that whenever. Of just how to set up one up so it's engaging and it has a call to action and so on. So I'm just going to move you guys. So I have the event. I want to make sure I have my CTA. And this is where one of a lot of people go wrong is it ends here. And the reality is we want to be able to do what we talked about is starting to add follow-ups. So at the end, I should put this here. There's two kind of ways that they can go. Did they attend? Yes, no. So if they attended, I look at, did they take the offer? Yes, no. If they didn't attend, then I'm going to put them, I'm going to create a automation for these people who didn't attend. And the automation, the template is, not to draw this out forever, but the template is in the workshop folder as well. But basically we want to have follow-ups to saying, hey Colin or Avery, we had our workshop last night. It was really awesome. Here's a highlight of it. I like to just upload it into YouTube, leave it as unlisted, and just send them the link. Let me know if you have any questions. We hope to see you again. I would also utilize the front desk, or if you're a solo practitioner or whatnot, just you can have them like pre-record a message or a text message and send it out to them. Generally, I have like a 3-step email to get these people to book a call or get them back into your world. After that, they go into the general newsletter. So after that sequence, they'll go into general. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
So then we've got, if you have any questions, Avery, just let me know. I know we're kind of in the middle of it, but all good. So if someone took you up on the offer, then they become your patient or client, and they go into your regular patient customer journey, client journey. If they didn't take you up on the offer, then I would have another section here that is also following up with them. So a lot of the time I like to give them a call personally, because these people actually committed to coming or showing up online, and giving them a call and saying, hey, Colin, yeah, you showed up. I just wanted to get some feedback, make sure that you had all your questions answered, and so on. A lot of the time, especially when we do these live, what will happen is someone says, oh, I didn't have my schedule with me or whatever, can I book it? So just taking that extra time to actually give them a call, a lot of the time you'll probably be able to get a lot of the people who didn't take the offer right away, because either they had more questions and they were too shy to ask in a group or stay behind, or they wanted to check their schedule or whatever else it might be. So it's really, really advantageous to take them up on this. More than likely, you'll get some of them coming back. So technically, I usually use 3 different emails. These ones are going to be slightly different because I've got to get them to take this offer. These people, I've got to more filter them first, if that makes sense. So you guys good so far?
Yep. Real good.
Lastly, this is just your general. So if people at this point get to this, even these people are going to go into your general follow-ups. So if the people don't buy anything, don't take any offer, you don't hear from them, they go into your general follow-up after the sequence. And if these people, you never get a hold of them, they go into your general sequence. So that's overall the strategy for workshops, both online and virtual. I'm just finding that there's slightly more opt-ins, like I said before, based on virtual, because I think people can do it from the comfort of their own home. But whether those people convert into actual people who come into the business, I don't know, which might be, they might be comfortable because partly it's saying, the ad is like saying, hey, you can do this from the comfort of your own home. People might be thinking, well, I want to do virtual service or something. So I think that this might create a bit of an ascension model in most businesses to be able to offer that virtual service. And for me, I'm going to be definitely experimenting with doing this type of setup for virtual prospects and clients, because it just adds a bit more leverageability to your business. And it's giving people something that they might want, especially since some of the research we're looking at or reports are saying that people are not super wanting, anxious to get back right away and book in. So that's overall the strategy here. I'll upload this stuff, put it together, as well as with the ads and the landing pages, and you guys can just plug and play. So if you got Clickfunnels, I know Colin, you do. I don't know if Avery does or not, but I have Clickfunnels. I can just you can just plug and play it. So any questions on that?
No, that was really awesome. That's cool, that thank you page that you mentioned at the end with the video and the don't want to wait, sign up now and embed your calendar.
Yeah.
Genius.
I'm going to reshare that. I'll show it so Avery can see it. So basically the neck pain. Yeah. So this was the, Avery, you can see this here. So what I did was I just added a ability to call. So what I'm finding is just giving the person the option when they would, this is even before virtual workshops, but in person, I would have an option for them to be able to book a call. So if they've opted in, this was like the ad here. So if they've opted in, they clicked over, they went to this page here, just driving them to register, and they get to this page. There's a video saying, hey, thanks for registering. We're really excited to have you. We'll be able to help hundreds of other clients achieve amazing results with overcoming neck pain. And we're going to be sharing some of those things with you. But we know that some of our clients who do, or some of the people who do register for this workshop are experiencing pain right now and are stuck right now. So what we want to do is we're going to be offering a free, no cost discovery call with one of our expert therapists in order for you to be able to discuss some of the problems that you're having now, and we could best get you started. And since I added that, you would not believe how many people end up taking it on. So it's just something a little bit extra. I'll share this template with you guys. You can swipe it and add whatever you want to it. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you found it really informative and helpful. If you're looking at using workshops to attract new patients to your health practice, click the link below and we can spend a little bit of time together figuring out what the best strategy for you specifically is going forward. Look forward to chatting. Thanks.